Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Friday morning, and that means we are talking to Stephen Dow about how you can get some money for your projects. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing well, man. Before we jump into this program called the Fast 50, let's get that marketing spiel out of the way.
Perfect. Again, although I work happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own, and let's get it going, brother.
There you go. Well, let's talk about the Fast 50 program. And again, I talk about it now as somebody who's been through it, right? That was a program that I selected for my property purchase. So why don't you talk about the avatar, the perfect, what you think the perfect user of that is, and then I will do the same thing.
Perfect. Okay. So I believe that it's really advantageous for two types of borrowers. I think on both ends of the spectrum. Either if you have really good credit, but you only need 50% LTV or less, then you're going to get the best rates. Okay. And of course, in addition to that, our rates are FICO driven. So the perfect kind of avatar, if you want to call it that, would be a mid FICO score of above 750 or above. Again, on the Fast 50, you're maxed at 50% LTV. Yep. And then on the purchase, obviously, because there's no add-on for refinance, and then loan amounts above 750,000 gets an additional reduction of rate. So that's kind of like the perfect sweet spot. So most of the time, once you hit that, and as far as loan amounts 750 above, it's going to be very little as far as buying down to all the way to 399. Wow. If the loan is large enough, you know, we can make some deals happen if you're showing some volume. Sometimes maybe nothing to get down to 399. It just depends on your situation, but yeah, of course, structure deals accordingly.
Yeah, and just because we're talking about the Fast 50, if you're going to do a refi at 50%, there's obviously a kicker for that, right? A purchase is different than a refi. So there were what, 499 kind of the best case scenario?
No, I mean, again, we can go all the way down to 399. I mean,
okay. Even on a refi, remember?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the floor rate. It's just yeah. Okay. So if the loan's large enough, we'll structure it to where you know.
Yes. So when I think about this, because I think about both the purchase and the refi, because I've been through it, right? So we'll do the refi first, because the refi is probably most people, right? Because 50% down is a lot for most people, especially when you're starting out. So the first thing I think we should acknowledge is you've probably been in the game a while, right? Yes. You've got the stroke, or I always talk about time in the market versus timing the market. Yes. I obviously have been in the market for 20 plus years. I used it in really two different factors. First, and I think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of us have actually paid off assets over the last 10 years, right? When rates are 6 or 7 or 8 and you're getting a yield of 9 or 10, right? It really makes sense to pay off the debt because there's really not enough margin to risk going deeper and deeper in debt, right? So a lot of us the last decade paid them off. However, a lot of us are looking at the scenario we're in the last year going, inflation is at X. I can borrow at X minus, because again, I'm an open book. I believe inflation's above 5%, and I just borrowed money at 4. Right. It's like, okay, if you want to give me money at 4, and it's just, anyways. So that's why I did it. So I think there's a lot of people with free and clear assets that really should look at this. And again, you got to remember, if we're late in the game or a lot of years, we're not going to go to 75 or 80, right? We're probably pretty conservative. But I went to 50% happily. So I think that's the first person, right? I got a bunch of free and clear assets, or I have one. I want some more capital just to be prepared for what's coming.
Right. And we'll reposition some of your assets, because then now, at, like you said, 4% money, if you have anything, you know, if you're worth anything as far as an investor, you should be getting ROIs above that. Yeah. So you said borrow at 4, and you know. Yeah, in worst case, just sit on it, be ready for what's down the line. I mean, it's Jamie Dimon's strategy, right? Jamie Dimon's now sitting on nearly $1 trillion, going, I'll wait. So that's what I did. Because again, right, if you wait till the deals are out there, I can promise you the lending market could be different. And again, I'm talking apartments, right? I really see some pain in apartments. Right. So I want to be prepared. So that's one. And then the other side is you may have some investors, again, kind of like my purchase, right? We're in our 40s, 50s, or 60s. We have a down payment. We're maybe semi Dave Ramsey-ish. And, you know, it's not like we're going to pay cash for something, but we will pay 50%. And, you know, we want the best rates and those things. So
That's why I did it, right? It wasn't about max leverage. I'm near the end of this game, not the beginning. If this was Mike Zuber at 30, I'd have done your ARV Pro at 75 all day.
Right.
But I'm like, 45K down versus 90K down, better rate. Do I really want the extra 45 sitting in the bank getting zero? No, I'll put it to work.
Right.
So I think the Fast 50 is right for lots of people. Either A, you've got a free and clear and you want to prepare, or B, you're probably, you're not going to be a 21-year-old and putting 50% down in most cases, but maybe you're a 51-year-old and you're like, dude, I want to talk to Zuber. I want to get 4 properties. I got stroke. I got an RSU. I've been in the stock market for whatever it is. And I'm just going to buy 4 at 50% LTV. Totally cool with that. Totally cool with that. So that's what I think.
Right. Now, the other part of the spectrum would be somebody who has actually, mortgage related credit challenges, let's just call it. Yeah. So on the Fast 50, we still allow other leniency as it pertains to derogatory mortgage credit. For example, you can be, 190 days or 150 days late on mortgages on your credit. 1 day out of BK, multiple foreclosures in the past, couple months, what have you. The only thing you cannot have is the property cannot be in an active foreclosure or NOD. Right. And you just need to meet the minimum 650 FICO, and that's pretty much it.
Wow. Again, that's the beauty of working with a non-QM lender is you kind of look at the full story, right? Banks, you bring that person to a bank and it's like, they don't even get inside the bank. They just kick them out and like, nope, not today.
Right.
So this is pretty cool. So I think the Fast 50 program, obviously I like it. I used it twice, both once for a purchase and once for a refi. But yeah, I think there's an avatar out there. I think there's plenty of one rental at a time folks who have free and clear assets. That's like, you know what? I might want to prepare, right? So I'll go be conservative, right? I'm not going to ladder up to the max. And then there's some people starting in their 50s that makes sense, right? Because I talked to a couple just the other day. They're like, Dave Ramsey says pay for everything. I'm like, well, okay, you could do that, but what if you did 50%, you got twice as much, and then inflation takes over and you can just do the math, right? So it's powerful stuff. So Stephen, if somebody wants to reach out and talk about the Fast 50 for a purchase or a refi, how do they do that?
That's Dow at velocitymortgage.com. Don't forget to put the acronym, just the acronym ORAAT in the subject line. Last part, I was going to say, you do have the option of, again, with the interest only on that 30-year fix.
Really?
So you can buy down to 3.99%, 30-year fix with a 10-year interest only at that 3.99. I know. In addition to that, you could technically buy down the declining prepay from 5 years to only 12 months. So theoretically, you can technically get 30-year fix, 10-year interest only, 1 year prepay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be buying that down. If I had 10 years of IO, I don't think I'm refining that in a year. But yes, I understand.
Right. But I'm just saying that some people want their cake and eat it too. Oh, I want the ability to get out whenever I want it, 12 months. Okay, fine. But I want to fix for 30 years. But
So that's why you call it Steven, because that stuff drives me crazy. I couldn't do all that math in my head, man. So thank you very much. Make sure you put ORAAT in the subject line. That is it. No thank you, no welcome, no questions.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in quarantine.
Yeah, and he does look at it, but quarantine reports come out once a day. So if you want faster service, ORAAT. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man.